Love and God, love and divine essence are exactly the same, and they are unconditional. You have to have the same love for God or for this divine essence that it has always had for you. Through the worst of your day, through the lowest points in your life, this love has always been there. It's available to you. You could take it at any time. You're never turned away. And it's a supply that's inexhaustible. You can't exhaust it. You can't make it go away. It is there. So there is a power in unconditional love that is very difficult for most of us to grasp. I don't know if you've ever been around a being who lives and experiences unconditional love, but when you are, you discover that the energy that they radiate is infectious. Like being in a room with Mother Teresa, just being in her presence. They said of Jesus, they said of Buddha, that when they would go into a village, just their presence in the village, nothing more, just their presence in the village would change the consciousness of those around them. From the perspective of having this divinity within you, which is a love for what is going to manifest, what happens when you start picturing your world this way is that your life starts to change. What changes is you feel more peaceful. Love and peace, unconditional love and peace really go hand in hand. And when you get this quality, and what I suggest to you here is that in order to practice this, to understand that you sleep better, you eat better, you automatically begin to take better care of your body. Toxins are no longer that important to you. Exercise becomes something that you just absolutely do because you're treating your body with unconditional love. And it demands that. It encourages that. It wants that. It doesn't want to be dreary. It doesn't want to be overweight. It doesn't want to be drugged up. It doesn't want to be lethargic. It wants to be flowing, because the universal energy that makes the whole thing work flows. It doesn't stop. That energy isn't stopping. It's not stagnant. It's a flowing. When you start doing these things and these changes start taking place, what happens is also the prosperity that you thought you couldn't have also begins to flow. You've stopped all blockages. And while this just sounds like, oh yeah, but I don't have to do anything, you will do something. You will act upon this unconditional love. It's like, go on a program for 3 days. Make a 3-day program in which you are going to communicate with your spouse, your lover, one of your children, a friend, a coworker, a boss, someone that you are close to. And every thought that you are going to have directed at that person is going to be one of unconditional love. No matter how crappy they may act, no matter how much complaining they may do, no matter how much you find them to be irritating or whatever, you are going to respond with unconditional love. Not gushy, oh, isn't that great? You're throwing up on me again? Nothing, not that at all. But just the thought, the absence of judgment, the absence of anger, the absence of the ego demand that says, you know, you should really be like I am, you're wrong and I'm right. You just let go of that. Try it for 3 days. A 3-day program of unconditional love. And watch what happens to your energy level, and watch what happens to the things that you want to manifest in your life. And begin to notice how you're sleeping and what the content of your dreams are. And notice how other people begin to treat you. You see, unconditional love is joy, and it's also power. There's an enormous power, but it's not the power that is an investment in having power over others. It's a power of being able to tune in finally to the thing that makes the whole universe work. What do you think keeps this whole planet from falling off into an abyss? What do you think it is that keeps your shoulder from falling off? What do you think it is that keeps the cells of your eyeballs in their sockets? There's a force, there's an energy, there's something that is working, that keeps everything in place, that makes it all work, that makes it all flow. You finally begin to tune into that. You start to trust your nature more than you trust your intellect, which is your ego. Your nature knows how to work. It knows how to make your body work. Your nature knows exactly how many nutrients to send to all the different organs of the body. You don't have to think about that every time you eat something. It's working. Your nature knows how much oxygen to take in and how much to let out. You don't need a formula for that. Your intellect says that water there can't possibly be made up of 2 parts of hydrogen and 1 part of oxygen. Those are gases. They say there's no way. But nevertheless, it is. isn't it, as we examine it? So your nature works perfectly in perfect harmony, as does everything else that keeps the oceans from tilting on the side and having tidal waves. This nature of yours that you are in, that is in you, that you are not separate from, is flowing. It's perfect. It's unconditional. It doesn't judge. It doesn't ask anything. Be that, and the rest of this will fall right into place. It's astounding how powerful this unconditional love is. It was at the very last observation you made, DEEPAK, that the word love finally came in, and it's been my journey to learn to come to a new kind of love in my life. I have been reading a great teacher from Bulgaria whose name was Peter Dunoff, of whom Einstein said at the height of his popularity back in the 30s that the whole world bows before me and I bow before for Peter Dunoff. Peter Dunoff was a man who talked about a different kind of love. He said there are basically three kinds of love. One is human love, and human love is a love that changes and varies. So this is a love that, I love you, but you came home late and you forgot Valentine's Day, so I don't love you so much. And it's constantly changing. I love you, I hate you, and on it goes. And then there's a love that he called spiritual love, which is a love that never changes, but it does vary. This is the love that I can only define as the love I have for my children. I have 8 of them, and it really doesn't matter what they do or how they behave, how they conduct themselves. The love is just there. I'm sure the people who've committed some of these atrocities that we've been experiencing the last few months here in America, the mothers of these people still love them. Having 8 children, I know that it varies. Sometimes it's a little stronger than others, but it's always there when I'm sure you know that with your children. And I see Rita there as we were talking about her children, your children. And then there's a love that Peter Dunoff spoke about, which is a love that he calls divine love. And this is a love that never changes, and this is a love that never varies, and this is a love I aspire to. And the only way I can describe it, it's in the Gospel of Thomas, in the Nag Hammadi scrolls that were found in 1945. Jesus is quoted as saying that when you make the two one, then you can enter the kingdom. In the opening line of the Tao Te Ching, a book that I studied and lived and wrote a whole series of essays about, the opening line of the Tao says, "The Tao that can be named is not the Tao." And so I try to imagine a love that Jesus spoke about when you take the two and make it one. And so this is a love that has no opposites. So if I were to ask you the word, if I said, what is joy? And I say, what is the opposite of joy? Most of you would probably say something like despair or sadness and so on. And if I ask you to imagine a joy that has no opposite, it's just joy. Or if I were to ask you, what's the opposite of love? We could come up with many antonyms to love. Try to imagine a love that has no opposite. That's all there is. Nothing else can come up. It's, I was thinking when Ert was speaking about, what is it in us that you talk about happiness? And I was thinking, I don't use the word happy either. Shakespeare in one of his plays said, I think he said it this way, "My crown is in my heart, not on my head, not decked with diamonds, nor Indian stones, nor to be seen. My crown is called content, a crown it is that seldom kings enjoy." And that kind of love is the love I aspire to. Contentment, a love that knows no opposite. Now we're talking up here about being human. And of course, you know we're all in human bodies. And making the two one is almost impossible for it.